Hello, everyone. Come to us and ask all the questions that people need to know. 10 years ago, we asked a question that seemed almost optimistic for its time. Was war truly over, or at least in rapid decline? Back then, in 2014, long-term trends suggested that violent conflict was fading from the global stage. Deaths from warfare had plummeted over the 20th century. Shootouts between countries had dwindled. There was a sense that the world, battered and exhausted from 2 world wars and countless smaller struggles, was at last learning to settle its disputes with words instead of weapons. Yet even in that moment of hope, signs of trouble simmered beneath the surface. The video we released began with images of Russia's aggression in Ukraine and armed confrontation between Israel and Hamas, a stark reminder that even as global violence trended downward, hotspots remained capable of sudden and brutal ignition. Strikingly, a decade later, the headlines echo familiar stories. War once again rages between Russia and Ukraine. Violence has erupted between Hamas and Israel. It almost seems as if time, rather than moving forward, has circled back. So, has the world really become more violent since then? Or are we still inching toward a more peaceful era, despite recent catastrophic events? Let's review our 7 core claims from back in 2014 and see how they stand today. First, there was the assertion that fewer people were dying from conflict than ever before. In 2014, this statement was largely supported by the data. After the carnage of the Second World War, the graph of war deaths seemed to be on a downward slope. By 2019, ongoing wars in Afghanistan, Syria, and elsewhere appeared to be cooling. The Taliban ended the 2-decade conflict in Afghanistan. Civil wars grinded to fragile halts in places like South Sudan and Libya. Even the so-called Islamic State, whose reign of terror had drawn thousands of foreign fighters and controlled vast stretches of Iraq and Syria, was effectively dismantled. But any optimism was soon challenged by a resurgence in fatalities. Between 2014 and 2019, death tolls declined. But by 2021, they spiked with a vengeance. The Tigray conflict in Ethiopia, for instance, erupted with ferocity, exacting an appalling toll on civilians. Then, with Russia's full-scale invasion of Ukraine in 2022, the world witnessed war on a scale not seen for decades. Over the last 10 years, more than 1.2 million people have perished in state-based conflicts. If we count wars involving criminal organizations, the number exceeds 1.5 million deaths, 3 times the figure for the previous decade. Second, we argued that classic wars between countries had almost disappeared, with civil war becoming the dominant kind of conflict. Today, this remains mostly true, though not entirely. The vast majority of state-based conflicts are internal, from religious insurgencies in Mali and Nigeria to civil wars in Yemen, Myanmar, and Tigray. Most of these struggles are complex and often rooted in colonial legacies, ethnic fragmentation, or power vacuums left by departing empires. Yet the resurgence of full-fledged interstate warfare, most dramatically between Russia and Ukraine, casts this claim in a new light. In the early 2020s, interstate warfare, once the exception, made an alarming comeback. The 2020 Armenia-Azerbaijan War, Israel's campaigns in Gaza, and Russia's attempts at conquest remind us that latent tensions can, under the right conditions, erupt into national-scale violence. Third, in 2014, there was an article of faith in political science that democracies do not fight each other. While this hypothesis is debated, it remains broadly backed by history. Over the last decade, there have been no wars pitting stable democracies against each other. Where democracy takes root, peace tends to follow. Not always, of course, but with striking frequency. Fourth, we claimed that most international borders had solidified and were unlikely to move by force. For the most part, this has held true, but with important exceptions and warning signs. Contests over land continue to ignite clashes, sometimes in obscure corners, and sometimes in places with profound implications for global stability. In Africa and Asia, dozens of border disputes rumble on, most with little global notice. Yet some have become distinctly hotter. The India-China confrontation at Aksai Chin and Arunachal Pradesh, China's pressure on Taiwan, and Venezuela's claims on Guyana's Essequibo region. As the world heats up geopolitically, the stability of borders can no longer be taken for granted. Fifth, The pattern that most conflict-prone nations were those subjected in the 20th century to colonization or Soviet occupation still holds. The legacies of foreign control, borders drawn without regard to ethnic or historical realities, resources snatched and distributed unevenly, political structures built to favor outsiders or a narrow elite, all continue to fuel violence today. In country after country, what appears as a modern civil war is in truth the heir to colonial grievances, post-independence power plays, and the artificial gluing together of incompatible communities. Sixth, we suggested civil wars were increasingly ended by diplomacy and negotiation. Unfortunately, this trend has partially reversed. Instead, the last decade has brought more casualties decided by raw military power or cold, unresolved stalemates. Peace deals have become harder to strike, and those that do materialize often mask underlying tensions waiting to explode again. Seventh and last, we asked whether we truly lived in the most peaceful era of history. If we zoom out far enough, the answer is still yes. But recent years have tested the limits of that claim. With a sharp rise in fatalities, a return of interstate war, and widespread civil conflicts burning slowly but brightly, the hope of an ever more peaceful planet is under severe strain. What's changed since 2014? Perhaps the greatest shift is the challenge to the so-called rules-based world order. In the decades after the Cold War, there was hope that international law, consensus, and economic interdependence would make war seem not just immoral, but irrational. Yet the world is now more multipolar. China has emerged not just as an economic powerhouse, but as a formidable military actor, with actual effective spending potentially rivaling the United States. Russia, through its invasion of Ukraine, has shattered the taboo against large-scale wars of conquest. In response, parts of Europe are rearming for the first time in generations, signaling a world bracing for new risks and rivalries. With these deep currents at play, tensions everywhere are sharper. Conflicts are often sustained from outside, a proxy competition between regional or superpowers, or by transnational criminal groups and extremist organizations able to span borders and destabilize weak states. So, is war over? No, and the years ahead are unlikely to be universally calm. Still, despite all the threats and tragedies, humanity remains, overall, in a historically peaceful period, though how long that peace will last remains deeply uncertain. Where we go from here will be shaped not just by governments, but by ordinary people determined to call for peace and demand accountability from those who choose war. As we look ahead, a final thought. With information so easily manipulated and propaganda another weapon of war, it is crucial to seek out reliable, balanced sources and stay alert to the forces shaping our worldviews. Only through understanding can we hope to stay informed, and, perhaps one day, build a future where the dream of a world without war is not just a fleeting hope, but a lasting reality.